What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over talking about the arrival set coming to NBA 2K25, my team tomorrow. What it is it worth you guys taking a deeper look at? Now, highlighted by Pink Diamond, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Paige Bueckers. Now, the one thing I will say is it's going to be tough, right? Paige Bueckers is only 6 feet tall, so similar, to all the WNBA. I don't want to say all the WNBA players, but a lot of the WNBA players that we do see this year. It's going to be tough for her. Jimmy, obviously a pure lock. You guys kind of know what you're getting out of Jimmy. Giannis, a power forward center. We normally do see early Pink Diamond Giannis's in the game. Should be one of your best defenders in the game. Diamond Chris Paul, we'll see. In the past, we've seen some good Diamond Chris Pauls early. I just feel like this year we got more options at the point guard position. And the other guy is Diamond Andrew Wiggins, who, again, a lot of this is just going to depend what is their release looking like. Because, again, we've got, let's say, like a Klay Thompson already in the game, in which I feel like it's going to be tough for Andrew Wiggins to really figure it out. At the end of this video, I also am going to be taking all of these guys into shoot around with their normal cards and just seeing what they truly do look like. Are they, going to be a guy that you are going to like or not? Now, let's start with Chris Paul. If you go back a couple of years ago, I'm gonna pull it up on database just for myself and talk you guys through it. But we've seen some good Diamond Chris Pauls over the course of the years. And it's something that at the start of 2K, he normally has his time. Last year, we saw Season 1 ironclad Chris Paul. Had some of the best defense in the game. The problem is he's only 6 feet tall. He did have a good leaner early on last year. Again, we'll take a look at it at the end of this video. Chris Paul is going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be anything game-breaking, game-changing. And honestly, I expect the Ascension reward Sam Cassell to still be better than him. Now, I could be wrong on that. We'll have to just kind of wait and see if that does come to fruition. But that's just kind of my personal prediction heading into tomorrow. I just think it's going to be tough for Chris Paul. Again, if, his SIGs don't end up being anything crazy, for him to be ran at a really high level. Other diamond coming tomorrow is Andrew Wiggins. If you look at Andrew Wiggins in the past, normally early on in 2K, he gets a good card. Last year in Season 1, we saw Dunktober Andrew Wiggins. I think the thing for Andrew Wiggins is he was 6'8" last year. If he let me double check, see what his height is this year. This year he's only 6'7", so that's something to make note of. He does lose an inch there. 6'7" Andrew Wiggins. Defensively, he's gonna be fine. Leaner last year was bad. Again, we'll take a look at the end of the video to see what his leaner is going to be like this year. Gonna be a solid maybe 3-and-D type option, but again, with the shooting guard position, you already have Klay. If you do grind level 40 or are going to grind level 40, I don't think Wiggins is gonna be worth spending a ton on. Now, if he is relatively cheap, then maybe you can make the case that he is going to be worth it, right? And again, that's a different type of story, a different type of situation, which we'll have to wait and see on. But that is something to at least think about for you guys. Then we see Pink Diamond Paige Bueckers. Now, with Paige, we'll have to again see what her release does look like, and I'll take her into shoot around to see. It's just going to be tough. She's only 6 feet tall. Defensively is probably going to be somewhat limited. I don't want to just hate on WNBA players every drop just because, again, they're undersized, because there might be some people out there that like running WNBA players. I'm just saying this year it's just going to be tough. If you want like the best team in the game, it's going to be tough for me to sit up here and say, yeah, that they're going to make that best team in the game. Not to say they're, all going to be unusable, because Paige at 6 feet tall could be usable, but it's just tough. It's the same thing like even with Chris Paul, and Chris Paul normally gets great defense. I don't think Paige Bueckers is going to be great defensively, which is going to make it tough for her. Next up, Jimmy Butler. And I've said it, we always get kind of the same type of structure. Last year, we didn't get a Jimmy in Season 1. It was Season 2 when we saw Jimmy Butler. He was a good 3-and-D option. I will say last year, Jimmy Butler's release wasn't super quick. Movement wasn't super good. He was a good 3-and-D option, but that's really all he gave you. He didn't really give you a ton else on the court. And so if that's all he is a 3-and-D option, is kind of the thing, I talk about is at that shooting guard position, we've already kind of got that. Like obviously Bruce Bowen is in the game. If you grind towards, level 37 with the Pro Pass, I think you get Bruce Bowen. And so a lot of people already have him. And so if you've already got him and Klay, for example, Where does Jimmy fit in? I don't necessarily know. And again, we'll take a look what that release does indeed look like here in a second. But that's just kind of the tough part for Jimmy Butler, in my opinion. Last, certainly not least, Giannis Antetokounmpo coming tomorrow. Last year, the first Giannis that we saw in season 1 had a 67 3-ball, right? And obviously Giannis is going to be Giannis. The card is going to have his pros, but I do expect tomorrow for the card to have his cons as well. 6'11", going to be great defensively, going to have a great player build. Defensively is going to be off the charts good. I'm intrigued to see what does that 3-ball look like and what does the release look like. Because again, we've got some really solid cards. For example, a lot of people already have Jack Sikma, right? And Jack Sikma can play that power forward center position. So, I mean, again, where does Giannis fit in? It will be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Obviously, there are going to be more cards coming tomorrow, Amis as well in this set. Overall, my initial thoughts, it seems fine for a drop, but I don't think anything is crazy. I don't think any of these cards are going to be like must pickups. For example, there's no LeBron James. There's no, point guards, in my opinion, that are really game-breaking, game-changing either. It is a fine drop, but outside of it being a fine drop, there's just not a whole lot, at least for me, when I'm looking at this, that's like, wow, these cards are insane. Like, there's nothing like that, and I'm not hating, but that's just what I see right now. So now we are going to take each and every one of these cards into shoot around and ultimately give you guys just a sneak peek, right? I'm not going to go too crazy on it, but just give you guys a sneak peek of what these cards ultimately are going to look like. Now, we're going to start with Andrew Wiggins, and then we'll work our way from there. So I'm going to, change the screen here. We're going to go into shoot around with Andrew Wiggins and see what he is ultimately going to be like. Now, for Andrew Wiggins, release looks pretty solid, I would say, especially holding L2 straight up and down, easy to time in my opinion, easy to green. I do want to see the fade of Andrew Wiggins because I feel like normally he doesn't have a good fade. Fade going right is incredible. Fade going left stinks. So just know that about Andrew Wiggins. His fade going right is really, 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 really good. His fade going left is not good whatsoever. So just kind of realize that for Andrew Wiggins. Catch and shoot release should be pretty solid for you guys. I need to start it earlier, but it should be pretty solid for you guys if you are wanting just a card to green shots. I think he's going to be fine, and he's going to be a solid enough 3-and-D shooting guard in my team. The big thing for me is movement-wise for Andrew Wiggins, it's terrible, right? His movement is not good whatsoever, and so that's just kind of something, again, to keep an eye on. I do like his release. I like his fade. There is a lot to like. Dunking the ball, he's going to be really good as well. But again, do the pros outweigh the cons? I don't know. Like, I just don't know if that is ultimately going to be the case there. Next up, we do got Chris Paul. He is, I do believe, on the Clippers this year. It's going to take me a little bit of time to figure all this out. I don't think, is Chris Paul going to even see any minutes? I don't know. They've got a weird team. Is he not? Yeah, he is on the Clippers. I thought he was. So we'll see what Chris Paul looks like. Chris Paul early on last year had a pretty decent card. That diamond, in my opinion, was pretty solid. Let's start with his release. I don't know if I love it. Fade is really good, though, for Chris Paul. And fades, I don't want to say run the game, but fades are super important, at least this early on. His catch and shoot release, it's fine. I think it's going to be relatively easy to time and easy to green. I'm slightly late all the time. What the heck? Why am I slightly late, dude? It doesn't even make sense. I don't understand it, but I'll eventually figure out the release of CP3 and work it out. But I will say, release looks relatively fine to me. His fade is incredibly good, at least going to the right. Obviously, again, I've got to figure out the timing of it all, but he should be able to create his own shot, which, again, is super, super, super important in my team. Having a point guard that can go get you a bucket. Meanwhile, going to be solid defensively. I honestly think Chris Paul is going to be one of the more underrated cards come tomorrow. Movement-wise, again, it's going to be tough, but I think, his movement's going to be pretty solid if you do like to dribble. It doesn't look great here in shoot around, but I do expect the MyTeam to have the MyTeam card to have way better stats than the Chris Paul I'm using right now. But that fade is going to be absolutely incredible. Last year's Chris Paul was able to dunk, so I expect the same thing out of this year's Chris Paul as well. Card that probably will be able to dunk at a pretty high level. Next up, let's see. Who do we got? We got Paige Bueckers, I do believe. Okay, how do I change this to go to WNBA? I don't even know if I can change it to go to WNBA. So let's skip that and let's go to the Golden State Warriors. We'll go to Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. The thing for me with Jimmy Butler, is, again, he's just going to be a 3-and-D card. So if his movement is good, that'll obviously help him out a little bit. It looks fine to me. Like, I actually like his little, I mean, I can't really dribble, but maybe tomorrow he'll have better dribble sigs, a better, ball handle rating, those types of things. Release-wise, it's slow, guys. Like, his off the catch with L2 actually looks pretty solid to me. But if it's not off of L2, then it is super slow. With L2, it's not only quick, it's easy to time and easy to green. And right now, that's what we need in my team. We need cards that are easy to shoot with. Jimmy Butler is exactly that. You guys are seeing chicken in shoot around right now. Fade has that good normal fade, obviously going to the left. I'm not going to be able to green with it at all. But that catch and shoot release is where it all starts and ends. With the fact of knowing defensively, he is going to be solid. So I'm actually kind of somewhat impressed with Jimmy Butler, just off a shoot around here. I think the card is going to be better than people are expecting, more so than anything because of that release. The catch and shoot release looks solid. Again, off the dribble, if you have to set your feet, the release slows way down, and I feel like it's going to be super easy to contest. Last card that we'll go over today, and then I'll get out of your hair, is Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, Giannis defensively is going to be elite. Offensively, I mean, depending with his speed with ball, could be somewhat cheesy. I mean, movement-wise, again, I can't really dribble at all, but he might be okay. Release-wise, actually, for Giannis, looks pretty good, surprisingly. Now, again, I got to figure it out totally, but it looks somewhat solid. Again, I don't know what I'm really looking at here for Giannis. Like, I don't know, man. The release looks weird. Obviously, again, I got to get used to it for sure, but I just don't know if I'm the biggest fan of his release. It looks somewhat slow with L2. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get used to, but I'm not really greening a whole lot with Giannis right now. And that's, again, something I've obviously got to get completely used to. Right now, I'm slow and late. So, I don't know. I don't know what I got to do with Giannis, but his release looks pretty cooked to me. Fade doesn't really look super bad going to the right. But yeah, I don't know if I love the release of Giannis. And again, it might take some getting used to. So I'm not completely out on Giannis, but I'm not completely, sold on him. I think it's tough for me to be sold on a card that I'm just really kind of struggling to shoot the ball with. And again, maybe it's just the 3-point rating, because obviously in shoot around it's a D+. But you'd think even with a D+, I'd be able to green the occasional 3 ball. And right now, it's not happening. Now, again, maybe it's just something that it's not going to be able to do, but I feel like I should be able to green the occasional one, and right now, it's not happening whatsoever. So we'll have to get used to it for Giannis. Obviously, again, that's not going to make or break the card. He's still going to be able to run to the rim, still going to be able to do his thing, but that is one of the first things I'm noticing is I personally do not love the release of Giannis. It is somewhat quick with the L2 held down, something to think about, but just don't know if I'm in love with the release of Giannis. That's going to wrap it up for our video previewing the cards coming tomorrow. This is what you're looking at. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.